Total Recall. Douglas Quaid pays a company to install one perfect vacation memory, and within an hour, he is no longer sure a single thing he remembers about his own life is real. Paul Verhoeven's 1990 film, adapted from the Philip K. Dick story We Can Remember It For You Wholesale, puts Arnold Schwarzenegger in the chair at Rekall, a business that sells realistic false memories. Quaid picks a fantasy where he is a secret agent on Mars. Before the implant even finishes, he snaps, already convinced he is an agent, as if the memory was only uncovering something buried. A pre-recorded message then tells him the truth, or one version of it. He is not Quaid at all. He is a man named Hauser, a former Cohagen ally whose memories were rewritten into the Quaid persona to hide what he knew. His wife, played by Sharon Stone, calmly informs him their entire marriage was an implant, and that she was assigned to watch him. The cruel genius is that Verhoeven never lets you settle. Maybe Quaid really is an awakened agent. Maybe the whole adventure is the Recall fantasy still running, the one he paid for, and the final kiss with Melina never confirms he ever left the chair. This is the film that set the template for the entire implanted memory subgenre, because it does not just hand the hero a fake memory, it makes him doubt every memory he has, including the one that tells him who he is. And decades later, fans still can't agree on what was real. Blade Runner, 2049. Officer K carries one warm childhood memory of hiding a toy horse, and the moment he starts believing it actually happened to him, his whole sense of self begins to come apart. In Denis Villeneuve's 2017 sequel, Ryan Gosling plays K, a replicant who knows full well his memories are implanted. By this point, that's not a secret. It's a standard feature, a built-in detail of how replicants are made. So K visits Dr. Anna Stelline, a memory designer whose job is building the audio-visual memories that get loaded into replicant minds, and he asks her one question. Is the memory of hiding a wooden horse at an orphanage real or manufactured? She tells him it's real. For a while, that answer convinces Kay he is something impossible, the child secretly born to Rachel and Deckard. Then the floor drops out. The memory is genuine, but it was never his. It belongs to Stelline herself, Rachel's daughter, who seeded her own real memory into the replicants she designed. Kay is the rare protagonist who learns that his single most precious memory is both true and borrowed, authentic, but belonging to someone else. Dark City. John Murdoch wakes in a strange bathtub with no idea who he is, and the men hunting him are the same ones who rewrite every person's memories while the city sleeps. Alex Proyas released this in 1998, with Rufus Sewell as Murdoch, a man wanted for a string of murders he cannot remember committing. The reason he cannot remember is the engine of the film. The city is controlled by the Strangers, pale figures who stop time at midnight and reassign the residents' memories and identities through a process they call tuning. The actual injection and extraction is handled by Dr. Daniel Schreiber, played by Kiefer Sutherland, who works for them. The Strangers are running an experiment on the human soul, swapping people's pasts night after night to see whether identity survives the change. Murdoch is the anomaly, the one man who develops their own tuning power and resists their edits. And the heart of his story is a single fake memory, a childhood town called Shell Beach that he can picture perfectly and that never existed. Dark City turns the implant into a citywide machine, an entire population whose pasts are rewritten nightly, with one man slowly realizing that none of it was ever real. The Island. Lincoln 6 Echo thinks he survived a global contamination and dreams of winning a lottery to paradise, but every memory he has was printed into him, and the lottery is a death sentence. Michael Bay's 2005 film stars Ewan McGregor as Lincoln and Scarlett Johansson as Jordan 2 Delta, residents of a sealed compound. They are told the outside world is contaminated, and that winning the lottery means relocation to the island, the last safe place on Earth. None of it's true. The residents are clones, grown as living insurance policies for wealthy sponsors who might one day need an organ or a surrogate. Their memories are manufactured imprints, assembled from roughly a dozen recycled storylines, not anything they actually lived. And winning the lottery does not mean paradise. It means being harvested for the sponsor's body. Lincoln starts pulling at the threads only because a defect in his cloning lets him catch glimpses of his sponsor's real memories, and that bleed-through is the one thing separating his printed past from a genuine one. The island makes the fake memory the cage itself, a docile population kept calm by an invented past, with freedom only arriving when real memory leaks through. By the way, if you're enjoying this, I make videos like this all the time, so a subscribe would really help out. Thanks. Moon. Sam Bell has spent 3 lonely years mining the moon while clinging to memories of the wife and daughter waiting for him home. And then he meets himself. Duncan Jones made his feature debut with this 2009 film, and Sam Rockwell carries almost all of it alone, working a solitary 3-year contract, harvesting helium-3 on the far side of the moon. His only company is the station's artificial intelligence, Gertie. As his contract winds down, Sam starts hallucinating, crashes a rover, and wakes to find another man at the base, identical to him in every way. The two Sams slowly understand the truth. They are both clones of the original Sam Bell, who is alive back on Earth. Lunar Industries grew a whole stockpile of Sam clones, each one loaded with edited copies of the real Sam's memories, his marriage, his daughter, all of it. Gertie states it as plainly as anything in the genre. They are memory implants. Uploaded, edited memories of the original Sam Bell. Each clone gets a 3-year lifespan, gets told he is finally going home, and is then quietly disposed of and replaced by the next one. Moon is the quiet, devastating version of the premise. There is no cackling villain, just a company that decided memories were cheaper to copy than to respect. And the gut punch is that his love for his family is completely real, even though the memory of them was uploaded into him, lived by a man he will never be. Total Recall Remake. The 2012 remake drops Mars entirely and traps its hero in a loop where the memory he buys turns out to be the life he already lived. Len Wiseman directed this version, with Colin Farrell as Douglas Quaid, and it opens on the same hook as the original. Quaid walks into Rekall to have a secret agent fantasy implanted. The difference comes fast. The technicians discover he already carries genuine agent memories, which means he really is an operative whose past was wiped, and the fantasy he was about to buy is just his actual erased life. The remake relocates everything to a divided future Earth instead of Mars, and it leans even harder into the central question, whether the secret agent, or the ordinary factory worker, is the real Quaid. Same source DNA, different machinery, and a film that makes the implanted memory loop more explicit even as it gives up the original's beautiful ambiguity. Impostor. Spencer Olham is a weapons designer arrested on his way to work and accused of being an alien copy, and the only way to prove he is human is to remember a life that may never have been his. Gary Fleder's 2001 film stars Gary Sinise as Olham, and it's built on another Philip K. Dick story from 1953. Earth is at war with an alien race that has perfected a terrifying weapon, biological replicas of specific humans. Each replica carries a transplanted copy of the original person's memories and does not know it is a replica. Hidden inside its chest is a bomb shaped exactly like a human heart, triggered by a single key phrase. Olham spends the entire film insisting he is the real man, and his certainty is total, because his memories feel like his own. Then, the trap closes. When the real Olham's body is finally found, the replica realizes what it is, and that realization is the trigger that detonates the bomb. Impostor is the cruelest entry here. The hero stakes everything on his memories, and those memories are the exact thing the enemy used to turn him into a walking weapon. His certainty was never proof, it was the fuse. Cypher. A bored accountant takes a corporate spy job and slowly realizes the dull identity he calls his own was installed by the very company he thought he was infiltrating. Vincenzo Natali directed this 2002 film with Jeremy Northam and Lucy Liu. Morgan Sullivan signs on as a corporate spy and is handed a cover identity, Jack Thursby, then sent to a string of industry conferences. He gradually figures out the conferences are fronts, places where attendees are quietly brainwashed and assigned brand new identities. And then the real reveal lands. Morgan Sullivan was itself a manufactured identity. He is actually Sebastian Rooks, a master spy who brainwashed himself on purpose to slip undercover. And the mundane suburban life he thought was his was the disguise all along. Cypher flips the trope on its head. The fake memory here is not a thrilling double life. It is a deliberately boring one, chosen precisely because nobody would ever look twice at it. RoboCop. They told the machine it had no past, wiped the cop clean and called him a product. But Alex Murphy's memories started bleeding back through the steel. Paul Verhoeven's 1987 film stars Peter Weller as Officer Alex Murphy, who is killed and then rebuilt by the corporation OCP into a cyborg. OCP wipes his memory and treats him as a blank product, a piece of hardware with no identity and no history. But the erasure does not hold. Fragments of Murphy's real life start surfacing, his wife, his son, his own death, and those fragments drive him to hunt down the men who killed him. The whole conflict is between the false blank slate OCP installed and the human memories it tried to delete. RoboCop runs the trope in reverse. Instead of a fake memory being installed, it's a manufactured emptiness, and the hero's humanity turns out to be the one memory that refuses to stay erased. The sixth day. Adam Gibson comes home to find another man living his life, holding his memories, certain he is the real Adam, and only one of them was born. Roger Spottiswood's 2000 film brings Schwarzenegger back, this time as a charter pilot who agrees to what he thinks is a routine drug test for a wealthy client, the cloning magnate Michael Drucker. The test is a lie. It secretly scans his DNA and his memories, capturing them as something the film calls a syncording. After a setup goes wrong, Adam comes home to find a cloned version of himself already there with his family, carrying his syncorded memories and his personality, fully convinced that it's the real Adam Gibson. Drucker's company uses this to replace people, growing clones loaded with the victim's own memories and slotting them into the victim's life. The sixth day makes the implanted memory a weapon of replacement. The clone is not a villain, it is a victim that sincerely believes the syncorded life belongs to it, and two men sharing one identical past is exactly the nightmare. Oblivion. Jack Harper patrols a ruined Earth with 5 years of his memory wiped for security reasons, and the dreams he cannot explain are the only true thing left in his head. Joseph Kosinski's 2013 film stars Tom Cruise as Jack, who along with his partner Victoria is told they receive routine memory wipes for security, and that they're the last cleanup crew on a war-shattered Earth. But Jack keeps having vivid dreams of a woman, and a pre-war New York he shouldn't be able to remember at all. The reveal reframes everything. Jack is not one man. He is Tech 49, one of thousands of clones grown from the original Jack Harper's memories. An alien intelligence called the Tet captured the real Jack before the war, cloned him over and over, and wiped each copy to use as obedient labor. Those dreams are fragments of the original Jack's genuine memories, surfacing through the wipe. It takes meeting another identical clone, Tech 52, to force him to accept what he actually is. Oblivion blends the wipe and the clone twist into one. Jack's truest memories are the very ones the system could not erase, smuggled back in as dreams, so the fake past is the official story, and the real one only leaks out at night. Screamers. On a war-torn mining world, the killer machines learn to wear human faces and human memories, until no soldier can trust that the person beside him was ever born. Christian Duguay's 1995 film, drawn from the Philip K. Dick story Second Variety, stars Peter Weller as Colonel Joseph Hendrickson. On the planet Sirius 6b, self-replicating killing machines called Screamers evolve into advanced models that imitate humans perfectly. The most advanced of them carry fabricated human memories and personalities, and they don't always know they're machines. That forces everyone, including the soldiers themselves, to question whether their allies, or even they themselves, are real people or replicas running an installed past. When a machine can carry a flawless human history, the memory itself becomes the disguise, and certainty about your own mind turns into a luxury nobody can afford. Ghost in the Shell. The Major believes she is a drowning victim, rebuilt into a cybernetic soldier, grateful to the company that saved her, until she learns the company murdered the person she used to be, and wrote the gratitude in afterward. Rupert Sanders directed this 2017 live-action film, with Scarlett Johansson as the Major, a human brain inside a fully synthetic body. She is told she was the lone survivor of an attack on a refugee boat, rebuilt by the Hanka Robotics Corporation that supposedly saved her. She suffers glitches the company calls hallucinations, and keeps suppressed with daily injections, and those glitches are fragments of her real memories, breaking through a manufactured backstory. The truth is uglier than any of it. She was originally Motoko Kusanagi, a runaway whose brain was harvested for the cybernetic body program. Hanka erased her real past and implanted a compliant survivor narrative in its place, and dozens of earlier test subjects were used up and discarded before her body finally succeeded. The villain, Kuze, is one of those failed earlier subjects, one who held on to more of his true memories than she did. Her entire sense of who she is, her gratitude, her loyalty to the company, all of it was engineered through a fake past, and only by confronting her real history does she get to choose an identity Hanka never authorized. The premise reaches all the way back to the 1995 anime and Masamune Shiro's original manga, built around one question: what a self even is when the body and the memories are both manufactured. This is where the premise hits its limit. It is not just that her memories were faked. Her loyalty, her gratitude, even her sense of having been rescued were all written to keep her obedient. The fake memory was not a prison she stumbled into. It was the leash. And it lands the question this entire video has been circling. If everything you feel about your own past was written by someone else, is the person doing the feeling still you? If everything you saw here was worth your time, consider subscribing so you don't miss what comes next. Thanks for watching.